Welcome to How We Heard It, the podcast about music, pop culture, movies, and more, with your hosts, Wayne Bledsoe and Chuck Campbell.
What a way. This is Chuck Campbell with
Wayne Bledsoe, and
This is John Baker.
That is, I'm excited to say, that is how you say hello in the language of Norfolk Island. And by Norfolk Island, I mean the little island 877 miles east of Australia. It's an Australian territory, I guess. Used to be a British penal colony. It has a population of just under 2,200 on the whole island. And one of those people, or maybe a tourist, was listening to our podcast and was like, wow, I've got to look this up because that has its own flag and everything.
That's crazy.
Cool. Yeah, and their language is actually kind of a cross of English and Tahitian. So,
well,
I can't believe it.
I can't believe it either.
I want to hear a language that's a cross between English and Tahitian.
Well, there are only there are only a few hundred people that can speak it, I think. But you can get down there and hear it. And anyway, I did a little research on it. It's a nice little tourist island. It's far away from everything. So,
Wonder how long it takes to get there from here.
From here? Oh, I don't know.
And here is Knoxville, Tennessee, by the way.
I think thank you. I think the closest was maybe Brisbane, and it's like 4 or 5 hours maybe, because it kind of lines up with that part of Australia, kind of central.
Well, I mean, Australia's like the furthest country that
Right.
I know of away from us, but, get further out into the Pacific, it's even farther.
Yeah,
So,
yeah, exactly.
I mean, my gosh.
And people from New Zealand like to go there because it's north of them, but they have to fly all the way to Brisbane to get over there.
Wow.
And just about anywhere else, it takes a couple of days to get there.
Yeah.
I just saw a photograph the other day of a sailboat out in the middle of the ocean, and he said this sailboat is as far away from land as human beings are
I've heard about
capable
that.
of being, including the space station, because that's only like 200 miles.
That's true, yeah.
But this sailboat's like, 1,500 miles from land.
Yep.
That's so crazy to think about.
It's probably somewhere west of Western Australia and east of South America, because everything just kind of disappears and you got nothing but water.
Yeah.
Okay.
Cool.
So today we're going to do another episode. This is going to be our 4th episode where we dig into our collections. And I changed mine up a little bit because I've always, the first 3 times I was going to do, we've all got a ton of vinyl albums and CDs. And I was just doing vinyl albums, which I stopped getting vinyl albums in the early 90s. And I didn't really start collecting them until, like 80. So I have a very narrow window of these vinyl albums. So every time I went to them, it's like kind of too long ago and nothing new. So I'm going to now tackle my CDs today. And I've got a very complicated CD organization system. The vinyl was pretty straightforward. It's like what would fit in my crates I put in, and then what wouldn't I put in storage in crates. But CDs are kind of in different areas, and this is what I call tier 2 of my CDs, not the ones that I'm most active with, but ones I've probably been into, in the past few years.
And I went back to my vinyl collection.
And you went to vinyl, and this wasn't planned.
I went just to CDs because I misunderstood the directions, and I thought we were supposed to do in our collections focusing on the 90s. So I was working in a record store then, and that's when CDs came into existence.
Right.
And I just gave up on vinyl. Well, I didn't give up on it. I still had some, but a lot.
Yeah.
But I just didn't listen to it much because everything was coming out on CD.
Yeah.
I never listened to vinyl. So when I was going through my vinyl collections, like I've not listened to any of this stuff in 20 years. So what am I doing? I will go back to the vinyl because that's the only way I'm going to find the other stuff.
Do you have a
my
working
sister left
turntable?
me. Do I have a what?
Working turntable?
I do, yeah. But I think I've got CDs on top of it. So that right there is all you need to know. Anyway, so that's how I want to do it. Who wants to start? If you have a approach that you took, or
Well, I didn't really. I just started looking through things I didn't think artists that were important to me to some extent that I haven't talked about much.
okay,
So I want to start with John Hyatt, who was huge in my collection, and I used to interview him. He used to come through town about every year. Super nice guy. Mm-hmm. And I first picked up his second album, Overcoats, in the cutout bin at Kmart.
Yep.
And I paid a whole $1 for it and put it on and loved it.
wow.
And then didn't hear anything about him.
How old were you? you think?
Oh, I was in my 20s.
Okay. All right.
Anyway, I guess.
Okay.
I guess I didn't really pay any attention. He had an album called Slugline, which is the next one I got, which is when they started comparing him to Elvis Costello, like they compared everybody to Elvis Costello for a while. And then in 1987, he came out with an album called Bring the Family, which had Ry Cooder and Nick Lowe and Jim Keltner as his band. All-star band, and it was his breakthrough. It was incredible. It was a great album, and it's like this. He had a string of albums. Bring the Family. Next year he had Slow Turning. Next year he had Stolen Moments, and every one of them is terrific. And people started covering his songs like crazy, and he became a big thing. And now he's kind of older, and he's not released nearly so much. His last album came out with the Jerry Douglas Band backing him up, which is pretty cool.
Okay.
But one of the great singer-songwriters from the era that everybody for a while knew who he was, and then, he's faded.
You got any, stress-type songs that people might recognize?
You've heard Have a Little Faith in Me?
That was a big one. And Thing Called Love that Bonnie Raitt had a big hit with.
Okay.
And, I'm trying to think what else.
Slow Turning was kind of a hit.
Yeah, Slow Turning is kind of a hit. Roseanne Cash had hits with That's How We Make a Broken Heart.
Okay.
And She Loves the Jerk.
Okay.
But, he was one of those guys. And he last time I saw him, he was playing a show with Lyle Lovett. They had like a trio thing where it was like they traded guitars with him, and I think Guy Clark was the other person on that bill. But anyway,
he was always one of yours. So
Oh yeah. Well, he was when the whole Americana movement started coming a big thing and got a name. He was one of the names that always came up because he was there before it had a name and before it got going.
Well, and I think his early stuff is much more sort of pop. That's why the Elvis Costello and Angry Young Man, Graham Parker kind of comparisons come from, because he was kind of a skinny tie wearing pop songwriter. And then by the time he got to Bring the Family, it was much more traditional music influenced. I mean, he had great musicians on those too.
A little more acoustic, a little more folky.
Yeah, a little more soulful.
Right. But his first kind of breakthrough as a songwriter was Three Dog Night. Covered his song "Sure as I'm Sitting Here," which was on his first album, "Hang Around."
Just as sure as I'm
sitting
here. Yeah, you remember
I know
that.
that.
There you go.
Ding.
Yeah, but he was like a kid from Indiana, and tried to go out and make it big in music, and sort of got a little bit, and then didn't get much, and then became an alcoholic and had a pretty tough
derail
time.
anybody.
Well,
but then Bring the Family was his first album after sobering up, and it's really heartfelt and really powerful record.
Yeah, and he is one of those. It's so much of the time when people beat their addictions, their music suffers, and he was just the opposite. He's the first artist I can point to that when he cleaned up, he got that much better.
Jason Isbell's another one.
Yeah, Jason Isbell's a great example because, man, his stuff was great, but when he got cleaned up...
he's just knocking them out of the park.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Well, I've got one, and I'm going to talk about this person, the main person in this band, a little later when we do our recommendations. But one of my favorite records from the 90s, I heard it back when MTV had 120 Minutes, which was like their 2-hour Sunday night alternative, whatever they wanted to call it. It was a little more hard-edged, punk-influenced stuff. And I came across this band, Jawbox. And this album was For Your Own Special Sweetheart, and it came out in 1994. The leader of this band is a guy named Jay Robbins, and he's a fixture in the Washington, D.C. punk scene. And it turns out I bought this For Your Own Special Sweetheart. It's on Atlantic Records, and it was their major label debut, but they had put out 2 or 3 albums on Discord, which is Fugazi's record label. So I went back and got them and became a fan of Jay Robbins. He's a really angular guitar player, and he has a unerring...
What does that mean, angular guitar
Well,
player?
it's like it's not over... It is melodic, but the melodies are oblique. They're like... It takes you a while to listen to them to kind of get where he's going with the chord progressions. Okay. They're come at you at odd angles.
Okay.
He has a penchant for discovering great drummers. And so the next band after Jawbox that he was in was called Burning Airlines. Again, it's pretty much similar music, but in a different band, but a great drummer in that band. So he's just been anyway, so Jawbox for Your Own Special Sweetheart, 1994. I was really into noisy guitar bands in the mid-'90s. And
All right.
so
Cool. I have remarkably little depth in what I'm just so, like I say, this is like column A from tier 2 of my CDs, and they are so mixed up. The top one, I just went in order. The top one was the Bumblebees 81, the Prince. That's from 2004. It's an Australian band. It was a real glitchy kind of electronic rock. And they had a song called Pony Ride. And it's a brother, sister, and another dude who did it. A lot of fun, but here it was on top of this CDs, which surprised me. And right under that was Eminem, the Eminem Show from 2002. That's definitely my favorite Eminem album. I know you guys aren't fond of him, but he had the song Without Me, which is probably his most catchy song. Before he got real, I don't know, he was always pretty aggressive. And also had Cleaning Out My Closet. And then after that was Tim Burton's The Nightmare Before Christmas from 1993.
Listen to that all the time.
Yeah. Do you still listen to it?
I used to. No, my oldest son Andrew was like, he was like 7 when it came out or something. We took him to it, and he memorized the whole thing. So I knew every song on there, both from the album and from him.
Well, R.I.P. to Catherine O'Hara, who was, what was her name? Oh, rhymed with which. Anyway.
It'll come in.
Shock. Like Shock and Barrel.
Yeah.
That's who they were. And she was the voice of Shock. And then I found a homemade. Right after that was a homemade Book of Love album that I did myself, doing 22 of my favorite tracks from their albums. Have you all made like best ofs from?
Oh yeah.
Okay, like from one artist, and you just put them all together because they're.
I've done that on a pretty regular basis. More often, I've done it with like. I did one on the band Senru that I've recommended before.
Okay.
And it was, because their stuff was all over the place.
Right.
So I wanted to make a sampler for somebody to say, look, listen to this. This is how good this band is.
You never did that to me, I don't think. I know I heard some of their stuff. But,
I only played you.
I'm not going to listen to a whole album
right.
anyway.
I just played you. I made you listen to songs.
Yeah.
That's basically what we did with each other. I mean, we didn't make each other listen to whole albums.
No. I'm not listening to a whole ass album, and then under Book of Love was Suzanne Westenhofer, who's a comic, and this was a 2003 album, and I haven't even thought of her in a long time. And it's called Guaranteed Fresh. And one thing I will tell you, a comedy album from 2003 is not guaranteed fresh.
Yeah,
that's something that I would say almost every comic who put one out then probably wants to bury whatever they did because. We talk about so few things now, that they talk about.
Well, that's the thing is like now everything is sort of so politically incorrect that you can't. I mean, a lot of the jokes are not going to go over at all.
Right. Under that, I've got The Police and Yada Mandata, but it was a 2003 release, so that was like way after they had released it. I don't know what it was about. It was very clean and crisp. So I guess they just re-released it or something.
Well,
in 2003.
Was a lot of the times. You got to remember when the CDs first came in, it was a big event when it came out on CD.
Right.
It's like Pet Sounds when it came out on CD was all over the place. It was such this is finally out after all these years.
Maybe that's what it was.
Probably.
And that's the album with Don't Stand So Close to Me.
Yeah.
The da-da-da-da.
Yeah.
I've got a little side story on the Police. There's the podcaster Rick Beato. I don't know if you've ever known him. He interviews musicians. He's got a big following. He has interviewed all of the Police. He's interviewed everybody. But when he was interviewing Stuart Copeland, I just watched that one recently. And Stuart Copeland is just so flippant about everything. And Rick Beato really analyzes the music. And he asked Stuart at one point, he said, okay, so your punctuation for different parts of the song is so odd. I mean, it's like people try and copy what you're doing there.
Right.
And how did you come up with those decisions? And he goes, probably because that was like the second time I ever heard the song, and I don't even know the chord changes. He said most of the time when we recorded Sting, well, they call him Stingo.
Yeah.
Stingo's got the song already written and everything, and Andy and him have worked out all the parts, and then they go, all right, come on in and play drums, and I'll just kind of feel it out for once, and then we hit record. Yeah. And he goes, and I don't even know the songs. I'm like, God, that's amazing, because Stuart Copeland's regarded as one of the great drummers in the world, and And he's like, I don't know, just making it up.
I just knocked it out. What do you want from me? I have a homemade album by Dido, A Safe Trip Home. I'm not sure why that was homemade. And then something I recommended, Dead Can't Dance Into the Labyrinth from 1993. That's a world music group.
It's always one of your favorites.
Yes, always one of my favorites. Two singers, Brendan Fraser and Lisa Gerrard. And she sings in a made-up language. So what I'm getting at here is this goes all over the map, but this is stuff I like. So that's what's different from the vinyl. It doesn't make as much cohesive sense as the vinyl thing, but at least I know what these things are mostly. You know,
You've taken a very different tack than I did on this.
I did, yeah.
Well, the next person I want to talk about is Tom Paxton. He's a singer-songwriter from the Greenwich Village days of the 60s, along with, Bob Dylan and Eric Anderson and all those guys. But his first big success probably was having a cover of the song Bottle of Wine by the Fireballs. Bottle of wine, fruit of the vine, when you gonna let me get sober? You know that? You don't know that song. I don't know that. But anyway, it's a big hit in the 60s. But he wrote...
I'm going to start singing these 20-something songs at you. Except I can't sing.
You said to not let you sing.
Yeah. I'm terrible.
But he was one of the most popular singer-songwriters of that era. And, Homeward Bound's one of his songs.
What's a good album to start on?
Well, that's what I was about to say. The best is actually a live album called The Complete, and Complete is spelled with Pleat, which is the not exactly complete meaning. Yeah, Tom Paxton, and it's a live album recorded in 1970, and it has all of his best songs. And it's except it doesn't have Bottle of Wine or Wasn't That a Party, which is the two early hits covered by other people. But anyway, he's a great singer-songwriter. He's still out there making music. His last album came out last year. No, I think it actually came out earlier this year.
Wow.
With John McCutcheon, who used to live here in Knoxville, helped start the Jubilee Community Arts Center.
So how old would this guy be now?
He is in his late 80s, I think, at this point. My goodness. And if you watch the movie Inside Llewyn Davis, the character who is in the army uniform who starts singing is inspired by him. But he told me when I interviewed him, I would have never worn my uniform to go into Greenwich Village. He said, nobody would have done that.
No, that wouldn't have been smart.
But he did recognize that was probably based on him because he was the young upstart that was in the military at the time, and all of a sudden, it's like everybody was singing his songs. But anyway, good stuff. He's got some cheesy stuff, but, so his best stuff is great.
All right.
Well, in continuing my mistaking the instructions, all of mine are from the 90s. But the next one is one of my favorite records from the 90s, and it's by American Music Club, and the album is San Francisco. And Mark Eitzel is the singer, and he's just got this really way of singing that is just so overwrought. I mean, it's like he just makes you feel like the world is about to fall apart. And the very first song on the album is just like, you feel like, it's almost like Pink Floyd. It's like really slow and melodic, but then he's got a really good guitar player in the band. And also he's got a pedal steel player, which you would think would be Americana or country, but this guy just plays it like it's an atmospheric thing. It's much more kind of floaty around in space kind of pedal steel. And pedal steel can do that.
Mark Eitzel worked with other artists or something. That name is sure
Didn't
familiar.
he have another band after that?
No, he's done some solo albums.
Okay.
But if you listen to his songs, he's a pretty bad drunk. And he sings about drinking all the time and all the trouble that it causes in his life. But that album, San Francisco, is from 1994. It's a beautiful record.
Cool. Oh, okay. So there is one theme that I've got in this, and I didn't realize how deep it was with me, but I like to travel, and I love Disney World and Disneyland, and I've collected so many albums from those theme parks.
Oh, yeah.
And I must have come across 7 different Disney collections. It included, the first one I came across was, where did it go? The official album of Disneyland. I bought that in L.A. It was a 2-disc thing. And then I came across Walt Disney official album. and it's one disc, and it has Los Angeles and so it's Orange County and Disneyland, Florida, and Disneyland, California. Then the 13, which is a Haunted Mansion album. Mm-hmm. 2 more Haunted Mansion albums. Haunted Mansion, one ride, and I've got 3 CDs from it. And it's a very musical ride, if you remember it. Illuminations, which is a CD that's only the fireworks at Epcot. So it was the music that they played for the fire, and there's like 5 songs on that. I bought a Disneyland Paris CD in Disneyland Paris, of course. And I got a 2-disc collection of like 50 Disney songs. The Paris one is Une Journée Disneyland Paris. So that was fun. From the Happiest Collection on Earth, that's the 50-song 2-disc thing. And I even have, now that's what I call Disney songs, which is literally one of those, now that's what I call, good music or whatever. And those are all movie songs from Disney. And I don't know why. I think I'm just... When you're in Disney World, if you're into it, you just want to buy something to save the memory forever. Yeah. And, you hear the music on the rides or whatever, and you want to save that. And anytime I would see, and when you go in there, even if it's an old album, they'll put a different cover on it a few years later. And I'm like, do I have this? I don't think I have this. So, and I have some vinyl ones too, like special effects and stuff. I don't know. I don't listen to these. I mean, very rarely, but it's just crazy that.
Me and my sister learned the scat singing part of I Want to Be Like You. I can still, to this day, remember all that whole thing.
Yeah.
It's all scat singing, but we learned that whole thing.
Well, is it back to me? Okay.
Well, if we're going in round robin here.
Okay. All right. I'm going to stay back with early stuff. This is stuff that I bought in the 70s. Richie Havens, who's the guy who opened Woodstock. And he wasn't supposed to open Woodstock. The bands were too late to get there, and he went on and just knocked it out of the park. But he's got his first album is called Mixed Bag, which came out in '66, which is great. It's got Handsome Johnny, and it's one of the things he did at Woodstock. But the best album, I think, the best place to get introduced to him is the 1972 album On Stage, another live album, because it gets some of his best songs all in one place. And when it originally came out, it included a little single from the performance of Handsome Johnny and Freedom from Woodstock. But it's got High Flying Bird on it, which is a Billy Ed Wheeler song that was a staple in folk music back in the 60s. And it's terrific. And Richie Havens is one of those guys. He covered Here Comes the Sun by the Beatles. And if you ever thought it was just that guitar riff that made that song, he absolutely obliterates it, and it's still a great song. Because he played in these open tunings. He just basically banged the hell out of the guitar. And it's like, it really didn't even so much sound like guitar playing. It was just banging. And then but it worked. And he sings with a whole lot of passion. He's got a great voice. He did some commercials back, I think, in the 70s or 80s. He did one of the coffee commercials. And then the cotton commercial for The Fabric of Our Lives. He's got this just gruff, beautiful voice, and he
sold it off, huh?
And he sang the cotton commercial song at Bill Clinton's inauguration.
Wow!
But he's a really interesting character, and just somebody that if you've not checked him out, I mean, just watch the movie Woodstock and watch him just like. He's almost in a trance when he's doing it. But the thing is he'd run out of songs, and they wanted him to stay on there because the other band
still didn't have the bands that were
the bands weren't there. And so he was just trying to think, what the hell am I going to do? So he just improvised a song based on Motherless Child.
Okay.
And it's great.
Huh. All right.
Well, I want to bring up another band that I really loved in the 90s, but this one's from 2000, actually. But it's Apples in Stereo.
Oh, I love them.
They're a great band. Robert Schneider is the main songwriter, and he just loves pop hooks. They're just jangly guitar pop hooks. And this album from 2000 is called Discovery of a World Inside the Moon, and it's just one catchy song after another after another. It's just, I listened. If you could wear a hole in a CD, I would have done it. So that's a good one. But they've put out a string of great records.
Yeah, they did. Back when Cartoon Central was putting out all those great cartoons, I can't remember which one of the cartoons they did the theme song for it.
Yeah,
but they were always a great band.
Yeah, it's not edgy, really. It's happy, friendly.
Kind of cross between the Beatles and the Archies.
Yeah, I'd say that's pretty accurate.
I came across a spate of things that I've recommended on here: the Ting Tings, Rehab, Lily Allen, and let's see, Muse, Black Holes and Revelations. But I also found Fantasy, which I don't know how often you had to deal with this, but it was like an indie record label in South Florida. And when I first started, I was doing a lot of Florida acts, especially from South Florida scene, which had a scene.
Yeah.
And it was just some women's group, and I don't know if they were trying to be the new Expose or what, but it was an indie label in Miami that sent me a CD single from 2004. And I just looked at it and thought, how did that even get to me and why? And I didn't review it, but I thought that was interesting and weird. And, of course, the Norah Jones Christmas album, that's still up high because Christmas was only a few months ago. Yeah. So, I break her out. The Pussycat Dolls, their best album, PCD. This is all like back and forth. But then I came across Amelia, After All. And this was one of the great finds because it was from 2004, and it was in advance. And I remember seeing that CD over and over and over again. I don't remember why, but I know it's great. I am going to go back and listen to that one.
Who are we talking about here?
The name of the group is Amelia, and it's a band. And it's just called After All, and it's from... And I sent my friend Ray, I said, do you remember this? And he goes, no. He said, there's some good songs on here, though. He said, I'm trying to remember. So we're putting our old brains together and trying to figure out how we know. But I know there's something good on there, and there's a few more like that. And also Wings, Greatest Hits. In the middle of all this, which, of course, it had 4, Live and Let Die, Uncle Albert, Band on the Run, and Jet. Those 4 songs are enough for me to make the whole thing worthwhile, despite silly love songs. That's from '78, but it was a CD release, of course. Okay. So,
well, when I hadn't been writing a weekly column for very long in 1987, but an album came in by a band called House of Freaks.
Remember them?
Band from Richmond, Virginia. 2 guys. One guy playing guitar, Brian Harvey, and he played bass lines on his guitar while he was playing the regular guitar leads. And then Johnny Hott was the drummer, and they were great. They have the album that came in is called Monkey on a Chain Gang. It starts off with this great song called Crack in the Sidewalk, and it's just the drums are so strong, and it's like they sing it with such fervor. It's great. And then they released another album after that. There's only, I think, 4 albums total, 3 or 4. One of them's an EP. But in 2006, Brian Harvey and his family were murdered.
Oh, wow.
And which was, a terrible, tragic thing.
Just a theft or something like that?
It was, they broke in the house, I think, initially thought they were going to steal things, and then murdered the whole family. They found them in the basement.
Wow.
And the people who did it, one of them was executed and one of them got life in prison. But the drive-by truckers then on their, I can't remember what the name of the album is, but in 2008 it was Brighter Than Creation's Dark is the album. 2 Daughters and a Beautiful Wife is actually, if you listen to that song, that's actually about Brian Harvey and his family. Oh. But anyway, it was a tragedy, and they were a really good band. And
House of
Freaks.
Oh yeah, House of Freaks.
Yeah, Brian Harvey and Johnny Hott. Johnny Hott's been in a bunch of bands since then. In fact, I think they backed up Mark Linkous and Sparkle Horse on one of the early albums.
Okay.
So anyway, great band. People don't remember them very much, and man, that album is terrific.
Well, since you bring up Sparkle Horse, this is another find from 120 Minutes. Their very first record, Viva Dixie Submarine Transmission Plot. It's all one word. It's from 1995. That first record was, I think, aimed to try and maybe have a hit. Mm-hmm. But after that, he just kind of did his own thing.
Yeah.
His stuff sounds really muted and real small and yet big. I don't know. Yeah. But there's a song on that Viva Dixie album, something about I can't remember the name of it, but he's talking about I want my motorcycle gas tank that you spray painted black. I want it back. I just think that's a
Yeah.
Would you consider that like you're saying kind of small or whatever? Would you consider that like airless? I've done reviews, and you've probably done it too, where it just feels different when you're listening to it. It feels
claustrophobic.
Yeah. And
yes, his stuff
and I
is
said
like,
before, I said it's airless, and I thought, I wonder if anyone's even going to know. I've used that term before, and I thought, does anyone even know what that
people
means?
get it.
That makes some sense to me.
You just feel like you're just...
Yeah.
I think he went out of his way to like mess up the sound of his voice and mess up the sound of the things. I mean, to where they didn't sound traditionally good,
Right.
Yeah.
because he was an artist.
Right.
Yeah.
Again, he killed himself here in Knoxville.
Yeah. Yeah, he was a gun enthusiast as well as being a great musician, and he shot himself with a high-caliber rifle, and the bullet actually went through him and came out through a couch in like
I
an
didn't know that.
upstairs room.
Wow.
Yeah, one of our, I won't say who told me the details, but we have a friend who was a friend of his and was around all that time.
He was an odd fellow.
Odd fella, but...
I met him a couple times.
I feel like I should talk about the Pussycat Dolls again.
I got all this
But I
we
won't.
got all this depressing stuff. I'm done with the depressing stuff.
Yeah, me too.
Okay.
I think.
All right. I came across Berlin's Pleasure Victim. And that's got the song Sex Ama, which I talk about all the time in the Metro.
Yeah.
And this was before Take My Breath Away. So if you really want to hear what Berlin sounds like before they sold out, that would be Pleasure Victim. I came across Dirty Vegas, which I'd forgotten about until I heard Days Gone By. He's like, yes, I love this song. This was a kind of electronic
Dirty Vegas?
pop. Dirty Vegas, yeah.
Yeah, I remember that.
That's from 2002. And they were used in a commercial. This was some other thing that we were talking about that came up. Viva Voce, that was like Amelia. And I sent Ray a message, have you heard Viva Voce? And he said, no, but I just sampled them and they sound great. And he said, so we're going to figure that one out too. So these are the lost great things. Agneta Faltskog from ABBA. I found a CD single.
You pronounce that so well. I just have to interject. You really, I've never been able to pronounce that.
I even tried to learn Swedish before I went there, and it's very hard, very hard. And I know, what is it? Was der Herr Toiletten, which is, where's the men's room? I think if you need anything...
That's pretty important.
And
That's
then
important.
Tak, that means thank you, tak. But anyway, it was a CD single from 2004, and it's when you walk in the room. I don't even remember anything about this, so I don't know if I bought it and didn't remember it. There was a store that I got at called Hastings, and
Right.
Hastings weren't, I think they were more popular north of here, like up in Ohio or someplace like that. But there was one in Maryville, and it was like real different because, they had a lot of CDs and books and DVDs back in the day. They went out of business, of course. Right. But I think I just saw it in a grab bag at Hastings and snagged it, which I've bought things I ultimately never listened to often.
Yeah, it was more like a Barnes & Noble sort of a thing.
Yeah. They actually had more music than Barnes & Noble, but yeah, it's very similar. And Barnes & Noble selling Borders,
Right.
They're also gone, I guess. And then I came across another theme thing, and this is from, I guess, Disc Exchange, where they had tribute albums. Mm-hmm. And they would have albums tribute to artists, and I would pick those up occasionally, and I came across a couple of Madonna tribute albums. One's called Truly Blue, which she had the album True Blue. And it was from England, and they had a group. It was like a random group of, I guess they were all English acts that did Madonna songs, and one was called Sorcery. And I thought, well, they're going to do a Madonna song. And they did Justify My Love, which I thought was a kind of a bold one for them to do, but they did a good job of that. I came across these are all out of order now because of that. Kate Bush.
You've never mentioned her.
Yes, I have. Well, this isn't Kate Bush. This is, there was a CD single I got in England for her, And So Is Love, Rubber Band Girl. But there was a tribute album to her that I also thought was pretty awesome. But the Madonna one, that one Madonna one, I actually liked some of those songs better than Madonna herself, just by bands I'd never heard of before from the other side of the Atlantic. So I thought that was pretty cool.
Yeah, that's good. Well, I'm going to talk about Ian Hunter, who was the lead singer of Mott the Hoople. He left Mott the Hoople and started releasing solo albums. A lot of people know Cleveland Rocks because it was like the theme to the Drew Carey show. And actually, Barry Manilow actually covered his song Ships, which was kind of an odd thing to have happened.
They don't seem like bedfellows.
They do not. But Ian Hunter was when I first saw Mott the Hoople, I thought, man, I love this band, but I hate that vocalist. And by the time after I listened to the album a few times because I bought their album Mott, it was like, man, I love this vocalist. So when he went solo, I kept following his stuff. But his first 2 albums, even though they got a lot of critical acclaim, didn't sell that well. And CBS refused to release his 3rd album in the United States. So I found it in import.
Oh, okay.
And it was like, back then you'd go searching through the stacks and all of a sudden you'd see something that wasn't available in the U.S.
Yes.
So this album, Overnight Angels from 1977, I was so excited. I got it. I brought it home. I put it on, and it was recorded so hot that it blew my speakers out.
Oh, no.
Man.
Oh, wow.
That seems like the plot of a movie or
I
something.
know. It was so funny because they recorded the drums it had to be into the red the whole time. But I put it on, and those drums come on, and it's like all of a sudden my speakers start sounding like.
Yeah.
It was terrible, but it's a good album, even though he doesn't like it very much. But it was much more of a rocker than the stuff you'd put out before.
Have you ever listened to anything else that blew out your speakers?
No, that's the one thing that was recorded that hot that just did it.
How about you, John?
I've blown speakers before, but it wasn't all at once. It was like I noticed one of my speakers was getting farty. It's basically.
I did it with Susie and the Banshees.
Okay.
And it was called a song called Red Light, and it had this grainy kind of bass, and it's like.
It's usually bass frequencies.
Yeah, and that's what it was. And it's a song about some some porn star woman. And I remember it specifically when it happened. I was on Beach Street. It was probably close to midnight in Daytona, and I was just driving along in my Buick. And all of a sudden, I thought, wow, that's because it's a grainy bass anyway. So it took me a while to realize I just blew my speakers. And oh man, that was so devastating because I listen to music in my car all the time. And so anyway.
Well, I got better speakers after this. So these were
I got
a good excuse.
Car.
Well, these were the best that Sears could offer. The 4-way big box speakers, and then I got some much better speakers after that.
Well, before we get away from Ian Hunter, I knew of Mott the Hoople, but never really listened to him before until a mutual friend of ours turned me on to his 2001 album Rant.
Yeah.
And it's real stripped down, straight ahead, 4 on the floor rock and roll, and man, it's a great record.
Is this mutual friend Tim Lee?
Yes.
Yes, we bonded over Mott the Hoople.
Yeah.
He's originally from Mississippi, and when I interviewed him the first time, we started talking about stuff, and I think he mentioned Mott the Hoople. It's like, I loved Mott the Hoople. I was the only person in my school who even knew who the hell they were.
Yeah, Tim's a big
huge.
Mott the Hoople fan. Well, when I again misunderstood the thing, but one of my hit records that I listened to in the 90s was Beck, Odelay. It's got 2 turntables in them, or Where It's At.
Where It's At.
But that album's got a bunch of really good funky grooves on it. Yeah. And he's continued to put out great records, but that one's right up there.
Okay.
Yeah, I think it's a great one.
In this tier 1 stack or tier 2 stack 1 is Bram Stoker's Dracula soundtrack, which is my favorite soundtrack album of all the.
You love soundtrack albums.
Yeah, I do. And this one was it's all music, and it was Francis Ford Coppola. That's his movie that he did with the. Winona Ryder was in Keanu Reeves, worst actor ever in that movie, at least. I don't know how he found his way into that one. But I think it's Wojciech Kilar, the Hungarian composer who did that. He did some other haunted type scary movies that are classier scary movies and just, slasher films. Which was on top of Kylie Minogue's Aphrodite from 2010.
I remember how many times I heard Kylie Minogue while we were working together.
I know. Yeah, I've not talked about her as much as I feel like I should because she was such a prominent thing.
It was constant.
Yeah, and
you
I
loved
still
her.
listen to her. Yeah, it's like I don't bring her. I should bring her up as often as some of these other gals I talk about. Throwing Muses, of course. Falco, Greatest Hits, which had Rock Me Amadeus, Der Kommissar, and Vienna Calling are the first 3 songs. And I don't recognize a single song elsewhere. It's like I just wanted the first 3 songs. You know how it is when you're taking a chance on something.
Oh, yeah.
And then you start listening. It's like, why did I even buy this? Or you see why you bought it, and then you hear why you shouldn't have.
My late wife loved that Der Kommissar, and yeah. And
and his version in German, because After the Fire, I guess they were an American band.
Yeah.
They did an English version, which just sucked.
Yeah.
Compared to his, because he just had all that German inflections. He's actually from Austria, but of course they speak German in Austria.
Right.
I dialed up a playlist of new wave deep cuts the other day, and a Falco song came on that I had never heard before, and I don't know why it came up, but it was kind of like a rockabilly song or something. I don't even remember what the name of it was, but I was like, this is Falco, sung all in German.
Yeah.
But it sounded like American rockabilly.
Huh.
Odd
Yeah.
that you brought up Falco.
There are a couple of Britney Spears albums, which one Blackout, and the thing about Blackout is she's got black hair, and everyone associates Britney Spears blonde.
Oh, yeah.
And it was kind of in the middle of all of her drug days and everything, and it was like a real dark time for her. But it's also considered one of her best albums. It had "Gimme More" on it, of course, and "Get Naked." I've got a plan. So she was really feeling herself. And then I got another one of Britney Spears CD single for My Prerogative. And I must have bought that from 2004, but it was her cover of a Bobby Brown song, My Prerogative. Yeah. And I didn't like his version, and I didn't like her version. So
it's a lose-lose.
But you got it.
Yeah, I don't know and why I've got two versions. I don't know.
Well, they used to send us CD singles in every once in a while.
Yeah. I may have bought that. I don't know. I don't know where my brain was in 2004.
Have you purchased Britney Spears music before?
No, I don't think so.
So what will make you think you bought that CD single?
I don't know.
I bet you got it in the mail.
Just because we didn't get too many CD singles.
Every now and then we get a package from a record company would give us their monthly,
Yeah. Oh, that's true. Yeah,
pack, and then it would have CD singles in there sometimes.
Yeah. I got some Lindy Ortega. Do you remember her?
Yeah.
Cigarettes and Truck Stops.
Mm-hmm.
I think you did that one. Maybe this was in advance.
I can't remember which of us, but I remember her.
Radiohead, Hail to the Thief, right under Britney Spears. Mm-hmm. So that's how life is. And then Rai Rai. This is great. This was she was an American woman rapper from 2012, and she had some great stuff, and it was very melodic and great rhythm sections and everything. And she worked with MIA. She collaborated with MIA on a couple of those songs. So, and I'd forgotten all about her, and I made sure it is Rai Rai. It's RYE. So,
okay. Well,
right there next to Radiohead.
Well, I wanted to ask you, what do you think of Radiohead?
I like Radiohead okay. I didn't understand the just absolute insanity over them, but I thought they were great and they were innovative, and I like, even with the pretentious H and Tom, I liked Tom York and Thom. Yeah, but I like them. Yeah.
Okay.
All right. Well, I'm going to go back to your sister Terry's collection.
Okay.
With Jethro Tull, which I don't mention Jethro Tull very often, but they were a real favorite back in the 70s.
I like me some Jethro Tull.
And, my first album I got was Aqualung. I bought it at a head shop in Halls.
Jethro Tull, that's so Terry.
Yeah.
Head shop and everything.
Oh, yeah. Well, the head shop didn't last, but I think about 6 months they put them out of business. It always smelled like incense in there, which was masking weed, I think.
Yeah.
And I was like 11 or 12 when I wandered in. It's like, I'll buy this, because I'd heard Aqualung. But we went to...
I'm sorry. Disc Exchange, they always smelled... They had their incense. Was it the... Patchouli.
Oh, patchouli was
that
everywhere.
always. Now patchouli always reminds me of Disc Exchange. Both of them.
Well,
Reminds me of the White Animals.
All three of them.
Huh.
You remember them?
Yeah.
The lead singer, Kevin Gray, just coated himself in patchouli.
Oh, weird. Huh. Well, anyway, with Jethro Tull, it's that same head shop I bought my blacklight posters that went on the wall, the whole thing. But we went to see Jethro Tull in concert, not when Aqualung was out, but Passion Play, I think. I can't remember if it was Passion Play or the next album that came out, War Child. But a bunch of us went from high school, and I can't remember who the opening act was at the time, but I was with this friend, Mitch Ferguson, and he shouts out in the middle of the opening act, "Bring on Tull!" It's like, oh, please. And then when Jethro Tull plays and there's a quiet moment and he was dissatisfied with whatever they played, he screamed, "Bring on Tull!" And it was like, could I be any place else rather than sitting beside this guy? But the best Jethro Tull moment was when Thick as a Brick came out on CD, and we just bought our house and we were painting the house. I probably told this story before. But anyway, Thick as a Brick is one long song, whole album. And you get it on CD, and you don't even have to turn it over because it's 45 minutes of one song.
Got it on vinyl.
Right. Well, I've got both. Well, we're painting the house. I'm in the living room. My late wife is in one of the bedrooms painting. And, we're about 20 minutes in, and I'm really getting into it. And all of a sudden, I hear this voice from the bedroom go, "How long is this goddamn song?"
You had told that before, but it was probably one of our first episodes. So I'm more than happy to hear that again.
Well, I
just picture Ruth. She's had it. It's on her last nerve. Probably thought you were testing her.
Oh, I know. It was so funny. But it's anytime I run into somebody that's a big Jethro Tull fan, I always wind up telling that story.
Yeah.
And they always laugh because, they had something similar probably.
Did you ever listen to his later album, Songs from the Wood?
Yeah.
It's a great record.
Well, Jethro Tull...
He recorded almost all the instruments on that.
Yeah.
He played the drums, the guitars, everything.
Ian Anderson, he's still recording, and some of the stuff is still really good. I think Martin Barr, is still around, too, the guitar player.
He was the guitar player. Yeah.
But, I interviewed Ian at least once. He was a very likable guy.
I think the very beginning of Jethro Tull, people considered them to be like Frank Zappa and like crazy.
Well, they were kind of a jazz band. They were very jazzy, and then they Stand Up is the album where they really switched over and became a more kind of folkier,
but still a rock
band. Yeah, and then of course Aqualung is just rocking us all.
What won Best Heavy Metal?
Oh yeah, they won Best Heavy Metal, which was absolutely against Metallica.
Yeah, that was in the '90s, wasn't it?
Yes,
and real metal people were like, Jethro Tull's not metal.
I think Lita Ford had to give that out, if I remember correctly, because the nominees are Metallica and blah 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 and Jethro Tull, and then she goes Jethro Tull.
Yeah, it was the one band that was not metal in any way, shape, or form. I know, it was so silly. But anyway, there's Jethro Tull.
All right.
Well, I want to bring up another. I was already familiar with Elvis Costello and had listened to My Aim Is True, his first record, and kind of, but then in 1989 he came out with Spike, which is not really considered one of his, I don't know, I think it's a great record. But it introduced me to the great guitar player Mark Ribot, who plays on this. He's played with Tom Waits, and he's just a really wacko guitar player all on his own, but he really does some nice guitar work on Spike. And Spike has the song, what's the name? Veronica.
Yeah.
And that's a great song.
Written
Veronica.
with Paul McCartney.
Yeah, wrote it with Paul McCartney.
The Elvis Costello Veronica was written by Paul McCartney?
With Paul McCartney.
With Paul McCartney.
They collaborated. I think they wrote
I love Veronica, may be my favorite Costello because, of course, it's pop and friendly and melodic and all that stuff.
But they wrote 4 or 5 songs together, and some of them were on Paul McCartney's Flowers in the Dirt album, I think. And that seems like a kind of logical writing pair because Elvis Costello's writing style is sort of caustic and similar to John Lennon's, and Paul McCartney has a way of leavening out the bitterness.
Right. I didn't hear. I think Veronica turned out well, but the rest of them, I was a little disappointed in because, when you put 2 names together like that, that kind of talent.
More often than not, we talked about this just a few episodes ago. More often than not, a big all-star collaboration kind of is disappointing.
Yeah. I think the only time it really worked was Traveling Wilburys, when everybody got together and,
Yeah, and that album, when it came out, I didn't like that album, and the more I listen to it now, I'm just like, man, this is as catchy as it can be. It's got all these great artists, and when they do a song, it sounds like a Tom Petty song. When George does a song, it sounds like a George Harrison song.
Yeah.
But I don't know why I didn't get it. I think it was just kind of, I was working in the record store then, and things that were super popular, I felt like they were being jammed down my throat.
Well, so many times we were listening to something, and there's just so much in competition for your attention, and it's something is a little flashier right off the bat. There's been tons of songs and albums that it's been years later that I've listened to them and said, why wasn't I crazy about this at the time?
Yeah, oh yeah.
But it's just
I think
you got to be ready for something.
Expectations are too high, even though we should know by now that a collaboration probably won't be great. Yeah. That's amazing. Those are my 2 favorite artists.
Well, and music has to hit you in the right time, and if you're not ready for it, it doesn't matter how good it is. If you're not ready for it,
and a lot of times 2 really great artists just don't jive, artistically.
Yeah.
So you won't know unless they try it.
Yeah.
Well, after Radiohead, I had the Hana Audio Tour. Which,
what is that?
So this is, I got this CD in Maui, And Hana is the city in the rainforest, the little town in the rainforest on the eastern tip of the island. And most people stay on the western side. That's where the bigger cities are, or towns, and all the great beaches and everything. But there's a tradition of everybody gets up first thing in the morning, they pack a lunch, and then they drive up to Hana, which is in the rainforest, for the day and come back that same day. And this was loaded with ads for picnic companies and everything. And it was like, we started driving, and it's like, I don't want to listen to this the whole time. I would rather roll the windows down and listen to the ocean and just drive. And I don't need people telling us, that the world's third largest collection of orchids is, in the hill on the right and all that stuff. So, but then after Hana Audio Tour is Bjork debut.
Okay.
Which that was her Human Behavior, Big Time Sensuality, Venus is a Boy. That was her big breakthrough, I think, from 1993. And then Damien Rice. Oh, I don't know if this sounds like someone I think you would.
I remember him. Yeah.
Yeah, and that he had that song "Delicate," which is just like, mind bending. Real. I forget who the woman was. It. There was a woman on cello, I believe, that collaborated with him on that. Huh. She didn't sing, but I got a Blondie Parallel Lines Deluxe Collector's Edition from 2008. It's the CD, it's the DVD, it's remixes, and I don't remember anything about it. I saw it, I love Blondie. I got to buy this. It was like 20 years after Blondie had done anything, and then I got it and okay, I don't really want to watch or listen to this now. I don't know what that was all about. I do love it.
The completist in you needed.
Yeah, I had that. Yeah, there's too much of that. That's too much. I just buy things because I look at it. The cover's different. One song is 10 seconds longer for some reason, and I've got to have it. Very impulsive waste of money, but whatever. No doubt the singles from 1992 to 2003, that made me aware that I actually like Gwen Stefani better as a soloist in her earlier solo days than I did as No Doubt. Madonna, the Confessions Tour. This is like the Blondie thing. This is something. When you get to an artist's last great album, you don't know that's what it is.
Yeah.
And she came out with the Confessions on a Dance Floor. Madonna did, like 20 years ago. And she had been on a good streak, and then this was like an even better. I was like, oh, wow, she's just going to keep making great music forever. And she's never had anything closer to this. But when I heard it, I thought, this is great, looking forward to more. And then when you look back on it now, it's like, oh, man, you just think of all that she's released since then that just hasn't had any life or spirit to it. So, and this had the DVD and live music, and it was a great package. I think I'll go back and listen to it now because you don't know. Well, you just don't know it's going to be a last great album when it comes out, unless they've died or something like that, which she hadn't. She's still in there.
My favorite albums always tend to be the ones where they're about to get thrown off the label.
Yeah. Who knows where they'll land, but this is their big last shot.
Yep.
Like the Zombies.
Yeah. The Zombies, and They Might Be Giants. One of my favorite albums is when they were getting kicked off. But, yeah.
Anyway, I think I recommended Thinking Triple X, which was a great soundtrack from I think it was an HBO documentary about porn stars.
Huh.
And so they're interviewing porn stars about life and everything, and you see these flashes of them, just sitting there talking to the camera, and then sometimes they're naked and sometimes they're not, and then you just have all this great music playing. I can't make sense of it. I don't know what.
How
they
did
were
you
thinking.
acquire this?
But it's I got it from a record label. They just sent and I loved the album before I even knew what the documentary really was. And then I watched the documentary and I thought, okay, well, because the art, none of the music.
Thinking Triple X.
Yeah, it's Triple X music from Thinking Triple X. So the documentary is Thinking Triple X, and then the album is Triple X Thinking Triple X. So,
well, on a totally different note, Chuck. I want to recommend.
Please don't be Roy Orbison naked or something.
No. Robert O'Keefe, who
everybody
got to know through Christmas with the Family because they played that on national radio. He became
a funny song.
Yeah, it's a funny song. It's a great song. When it came out, I felt like I was the only person who heard it. But then everybody caught on. But his second studio album, West Textures, it's the first time I interviewed him. He came through town. And I'd already knew Lyle Lovett. They wrote the Porch Song together, and they were good friends. They went to college together. But West Textures was the first album where it's had so many great songs on it. It's got The Road Goes On Forever and The Party Never Ends, which is like, that's become a classic. That's a real standard now. And Love's a Word I Never Throw Around, which is a great song.
Great title.
And then a cover of a Shel Silverstein song called Jennifer Johnson and Me, which is this great song about a guy who like puts on a coat he hadn't put on in a long time, and he finds a picture from one of those photo booths of him and his first girlfriend. And it's just this great memory of, the song is just all about how he remembers that day and getting that picture made. And it's super sweet. But his catalog, he's not released a bad album ever. And he's a great songwriter. I've kept up with him through all the different phases he's had. I think he had said he was going to retire from touring. But anyway, he's a great singer-songwriter. And I've got a stack of his albums. But West Texture is the place where I started. And he's such a nice guy. Every time I would interview him, he would send me a nice postcard afterwards, thanking me for the interview.
Oh, that's nice.
So my CDs have crammed into them, and my albums crammed into them, a postcard from Robert Earl Keen from when he'd written to me.
Yeah. Well, I want to bring up, this is one of my favorite records, and it's completely different. It's from 1988, and it's from the British band Talk Talk.
Okay.
They started out as sort of a new romantic kind of electro-funk band, but the two singers, Tim Freescreen and I can't remember the other guy's name, but they were the two main creative people in the band. They got more and more sort of oblique and more almost ambient music. And the album that came out in 1988 is called The Spirit of Eden, and the songs move at this glacial pace, but they ultimately sink into these really nice deep grooves. And he uses all kinds of different textures. He uses like a boys' choir and a couple of things, and their voices are just this perfect texture. And I just love this record. It's unlike anything else that I've ever heard.
Huh.
You should go out and check it out. It's really mellow, it's really calm, really soothing. It's Talk Talk, The Spirit of Eden.
They're very classy. I don't know how to explain it. Their sound always sounded kind of elevated. They got played a lot with new wave acts and goth and all that stuff, but they were just something kind of, I don't want to say more, but just something more sophisticated, I guess. They kind of stood out from a lot of the other bands.
Well, apparently Tim Freescreen, the main creative guy, was just compulsive, and they made an album after The Spirit of Eden called, oh man, I just had it in my hand. Well, anyway, but in that album, I've read an account of the making of that next album, and apparently he just went over the same song over and over and over and over for like days. And the engineer is the one writing the story about the recording, and he's like, man, I couldn't hear that anymore. But he was just completely obsessive.
Huh. So along with Triple X music from Thinking Triple X, there was somehow Chuck's Top 100 for 2004. I don't know how one of those found its way into my stash. I was doing my favorite songs of the year. Every year I would do my top 100 songs and just like put snippets of them on a CD. And this one from 2004 just landed in the middle of everything else. And I don't know why that was, but that's how life was. I found a lot of greatest hits, too, toward the bottom of this stack. The Pet Shop Boys, the hits, they had so many hits that we often don't remember. And the Best of Flock of Seagulls, which, people always associate, Iran, which that one kind of wore me out. But I loved Wishing, for a photograph and I loved Heartbeat Like a Drum, which just had this great drum, and it was just like so sweet and just kind of the opposite of what you would think of for them, but great. Then there was The Essence of Forest by Deep Forest, a greatest hits collection for a group I thought only had one song.
The greatest hits was kind of throwing me there.
That's a stretch. Unless they just had that Sweet Lullaby was their hit. Unless they just had that over and over. Kate Bush, greatest hit, too. Prince, Under the Cherry Moon. That had Girls and Boys, which I don't know why I forgot that. We've talked about him a lot, and I forgot about how great Girls and Boys was. I don't know if you remember that single. It was a kind of the same era as Kiss.
Yeah.
Brazilian Girls, their self-titled debut from 2005, also awesome. A couple of things here that go together: 21 Rounds, My Big Hero, and Ruby, Salt Pepper. 21 Rounds was 1998, and Salt Pepper was 1995. These are two gritty, women-led acts that were also kind of ominous, and they had some like deep. I don't even know how to explain it, but just like kind of scary music, but really rhythmic and just gripping in an odd way.
Oh, who is this artist you're talking about?
21 Rounds, My Big Hero, 1998, and Ruby, Saltpeter, 1995.
Huh. Interesting. Well, I found The Roches,
Okay, yeah.
1979, Three Sisters.
Yeah.
The album starts out with "We are Maggie and Terry and Suzy," and the song just tells about who they are.
Yeah.
They
were kind of folky, right?
Yeah, they were real folky. They just had these great harmonies. Robert Fripp from King Crimson was their producer, and he stripped it down to just the bare bones, and they were terrific. And my favorite song by them is probably the Hammond song, and it's just because the harmonies are so sweet, and it's this nice song about if you go out with this guy, then you can forget about us because we're not going to stick with you. But every song on it, actually, Bette Midler covered the song "The Married Men," which is about
Married Men. Yeah, they
Remember that
do
song?
it. They do it. Yeah.
yeah.
What album is this?
It's just called The Roches. It's self-titled. And I remember when I bought it at this little record store in Fountain City. And it's just like this white cover with them on it. It's just super simple. And then the music is super simple.
It's from 70?
1979. And
It's interesting. There were some older dudes in the newsroom in Florida.
yeah.
And I was just starting. And they were huge Roches fans.
Really?
And, and they would talk about, I don't know, Grateful Dead or whatever,
Right.
and they were just like, you've got to review them. You've got to review them. I'm like,
Yeah.
and took it home and listened to it. And it's like, I couldn't understand how, of all the bands to surface, of all the, women-led bands or whatever to surface in the middle of these classic rock guys' periphery, it would be this band.
Well, they got a lot of buzz. Rolling Stone was big on them. And then, of course,
that's probably it. They probably
Yeah.
got the critical buzz. So people like, well,
and then, Fripp was kind of on fire then producing stuff. He produced Peter Gabriel, and he did a solo album that had Peter Gabriel and Roaches used on it. And he was doing a lot of outside stuff. So if you're into King Crimson,
right.
they're on the periphery, but they were so different. They
Yeah.
was like, but that was a great thing
Because
about
it was just like these three folk. I mean, they sounded perfectly fine, but they had something like at the late 80s. And these guys wanted me to review them, and it's like, I mean, I thought they were fine, but I just couldn't understand what I was missing that made them like so popular with these older. But you're explaining it.
Yeah,
so.
well, that was the thing is they were so different in '79. Folk
Yeah.
was considered dead.
Yeah.
And they came back, and they were just basically guitars and vocals and just terrific harmonies.
Great harmonies.
And then, of course, Loudon married Suzy, and they had a daughter named Lucy, who is also an artist now.
Okay.
But, yeah, all their stuff, the first album is the best, and it came and went. Things, sometimes Suzy's the only one performing now. I think Maggie died a few years ago.
Oh, okay.
I don't know about Terry, about what she's doing.
Well, when you say they came and went, I think I listened to an album in their went era.
Yeah. Yeah, well, the first album was like this big critical darling,
Yeah.
and then everything that came later was like a little less.
Yeah.
But they were still good. And then they're on a collection, I think it's Live from Mountain Stage, where they do Christmas songs, and they're amazing doing Christmas songs. They did one of the big things was, and I think they did it on Saturday Night Live, they did the Hallelujah chorus with just their three vocals.
Wow.
It was terrific. But yeah, they were great artists, and I wish they'd stayed bigger.
Yeah.
Well, I came across an album. It's a CD again from 1993, and it's by. Oh wait, not 93. It is 89. A band from Austin called the Vulgar Boatmen.
Mm-hmm.
You remember them?
Yeah.
It was real stripped down, strummy. I was really into the Feelies at the time, so that's kind of tickles the same brain lobe. They were a little more kind of blues rock and roll. They're from Austin, Texas, I think. And one of the members, I think, was from Memphis. And I was living in Memphis when I got into this record. But it's called You and Your Sister. And it's just, they're really simple songs, but they're just insanely catchy. And I think you should give them a listen.
Cool.
All right. I think I can round out my stuff here with some reason at the bottom of this group of things, like 100 CDs. Some really big, popular ones that I love a lot were down at the bottom where I never would have seen them or anything. But the B-52's Cosmic Thing, Pretenders 2, Cyndi Lauper, She's So Unusual, Throwing Muses, Daft Punk, Homework. That was their big album. I was going to France a lot when they broke big, so that was like super cool because I knew them in France and bought their thing, and then they became big in the U.S. So that was really great. Daft Punk, Olivia Newton-John Physical. This had to be the heaviest CD case I've ever had. It was the album came out in '81.
Just trying to work you out.
I know, but yeah, that's what I thought. But I mean, it was like I think a truck could run over this thing and it wouldn't crack this case. It just made me think how much effort, money, into the materials they used to put into this stuff to make them indestructible. And it's like, maybe that doesn't benefit us. Maybe we do want them destructible and we do want them breaking and cases breaking all the time. Leon and Ace 13s, that was something I've recommended before. They're Madonna, Kylie Minogue, Sisters of Mercy, Greatest Hits. I love that band. Andrew Eldritch, I think that's the best goth singer, at least male goth singer of all time. At the bottom, and the Pixies, Trompe le Monde.
That's a great
how would that end up? I mean, I love that album. Somehow, 1991, but the one at the bottom just brought me a wave of embarrassment, not because of the artist, but so we had at the gym, different gym I went to, you had this multi-use kind of CD station for CDs and cassettes in the cardio area, and you had your earbuds, so you could put on your own CD or your own cassette and just remember, okay, that's going to be on channel 5 or channel 6 or whatever, and you can go and work out on the Stairmaster or treadmill or whatever.
Listen to Channel 5.
Yeah, and listen to Channel 5. And so so I put in Peaches, the Teaches of Peaches.
Right.
And she is a very explicit, raw kind of electronica, but she's great to listen to and everything. And this album has like a F the Pain Away is one of the tracks, and one called Tent in Your Pants, which, you can figure out what that might be. Another one called Lover Tits, but I didn't care. It's like I put it in, I was working out and everything, and then about half an hour later, a guy got off the machine and came over and said, "What did you put in that machine?" So, because anyone can listen to it, right? So, and I said, "Oh, that's Peaches, and I just didn't think anyone else would be listening to it. I thought, "Oh my God, I'm going to get beat up." And he goes, "That's great. What's the name again?" So I was saved, but I just thought I can't. They don't do that system anymore. So you can't just play anything that just anyone can listen to.
Oh, that's too bad.
Yeah.
You introduced somebody.
Yeah, I did. He just has a new fan.
I've often thought it would really be cool to be able to somehow have the ability, like when you see someone in a car, you can hear what they're hearing. Just see what they're listening to.
Yeah.
That would be interesting, yeah.
I'd rather see it before I heard it.
Oh, yeah. It could go a lot of ways.
Let's see the track list here. I don't know about this.
Well, all right. I'm going to do one last thing here. We talked about Robert Fripp and King Crimson, and my son Rylan was very influenced by. When he was 11 years old, I took him to a King Crimson concert. He was just learning drums, and from there on, he never played anything in 4/4 again. I don't think he ever played a song that was just in one time signature again.
Right.
Yep.
But anyway, he became drummer. He had a band called Yak Strangler, but he also was the drummer in the band The Crumb Snatchers, which are now based in Nashville, and the album Big House, which Rylan plays drums on. And Goots Guterman is the lead singer-songwriter, and everything on that album is great. It's the musicianship is terrific. The lyrics are good. It's got one of my favorite lines of all time. I lost my job, but I found a vacation.
What's the album called?
It's called Big House. And they recorded it at Famous London Recording Studios.
Oh, okay. I've recorded there.
Yeah. And anyway, it's just a great album. It's a lot of fun, start to finish. It's got Reckless Breakfast and Declaration, the song that I just quoted. But it's a lot of fun. And when I would see them perform, the audiences would go crazy. The kids, those kids, all the younger audience members. I was always the oldest person there.
Yeah.
But everybody loved him. Goots would be he would be in his boxer shorts half the time by the time the show was over. But really, really good band. And that album is great.
Awesome.
All right, I'll finish up kind of where I started. I started with Jawbox and heard it on 120 Minutes. Then I also heard this band on 120 Minutes, and they're very similarly like noisy guitar, and it's the English band Swerve Driver.
Oh, yeah.
And their album Mezcal Head, and it's on A&M Records from 1993, and that album just turned my head around. I also remember that was right when I got my first in-dash CD player in my Ford Exploder, because it exploded later. But man, that stereo sounded great. So
Awesome.
And that album was a really good one.
Cool.
All right. Well, who wants to do recommendations?
Well, I'll start with music.
Okay.
I want to recommend the Black Crowes album Southern Harmony and Musical Companion, which is their second album. The first one was called Shake Your Moneymaker, and that's the one that's got She Talks to Angels and
Keep Your Hands to Yourself.
No, you're thinking of another band.
I am
That's
thinking of
Georgia
another band.
Satellites.
Another band I don't listen to.
Yeah.
It's okay.
Well, it's all right. The name of their other hit that is a cover of an Otis Redding song just went out of my head.
Georgia Satellites.
No.
I'm going to throw you off.
You're really going to throw me off.
I'm sorry.
But Southern Harmony and Musical Companion is the one that really hooked me on this band. I saw their tour.
The Black Crowes.
Black Crowes.
Yes.
They came through Knoxville and supported that album. It's got Remedy on it and Hotel Illness and things like that. But this is one where Eddie Harsh joins them on keyboards. They still had Steve Gorman on drums, and it was just a knockout. That was one of the best concerts I have. It's in my top 10 concerts of all time.
Wow. Okay.
And it was just everything about them was perfect. I'd seen them open for ZZ Top. They got thrown off the ZZ Top tour.
Oh, why?
Because ZZ Top was being sponsored, I think, by Pepsi or something. I can't remember who was sponsoring them. Well, maybe it was a beer company. But anyway, the Black Crowes, it pissed them off that they were getting sponsorship, and they started making comments in the shows, and they got thrown off pretty early.
Wow. Okay.
But anyway, it's a great album. Just start to finish, you put it on, and you don't want to take it off.
And that's the Black Crowes.
Southern Harmony and Musical Companion. And
all right.
It's even better than their debut. I think they've released a ton of albums since then, but I still think it's the best.
All right.
Okay. I am going to go with, I told you, I started with Jawbox, and that's Jay Robbins. And I didn't even realize until a couple of days ago that after Burning Airlines, he started putting out records under his own name. And the latest one is from 2024. It's Jay Robbins, just the letter J, not J-A-Y, just Jay Robbins. And this album is called Basilisk. And it continues on with his angular guitar harmony, and he's got great drummer on here, and it's just really good rockin' album with interesting melodies. They don't just hit you over the head with, oh, I get that. You got to kind of pick at them a little bit before you get what they're doing. But he's an artist that I really respect.
Cool.
What does basilisk mean?
It's I only know it from the Harry Potter movies. There's a creature called the basilisk.
Okay. All right. So I've got Worst Girl in America by Slater, Slayyyter. So like Slater. This came out March 27th, 2026. She's also known as Catherine Grace Garner of the St. Louis area. She's been at it about 10 years. She left St. Louis and moved to Los Angeles, and I think she's moved to New York now. She's turning 30 this September, and just a footnote, this year the last of the millennials turns 30. So after this year, all the millennials are going to be 30 and older, which I think is interesting. Because, I think of 30 as like old youth, You're still young, but by the time you're 30, you can see the end of youth coming. And a lot of times you're more stable and kind of set, and you kind of understand yourself better, even if you got a lot of things still to go through. But there's sort of an advantage to that. And so she's a little older than the younger women artists that we talk about often, but just a bit younger than Taylor Swift. And she does feel like kind of like a cross between Gen Z and millennial too, to me.
Who's this artist again?
Slater, Slayyyter. So
2 Ys or 3?
3. She's been building her profile for about a decade now, and I think this album might be a breakout for her. And what's cool is it's got a lot of throwback to it. It's got kind of an electro-clash sound to it, and it's like I was talking about MIA earlier. It's sort of like a little MIA because some of her vocals are like rap, kind of punk, and then some of them are just sung or spoken. And Lords of Acid, I can feel that vibe coming through too because it's sensual, and it's smart-assy, you know, and she's just got a lot of aggressive, and it's kind of raw. It's not, when you think about, you know, any kind of electronic music, you think glossy, polished, and this is not any of that at all. It's really much more intense and kind of punk kind of feeling too, because she is so kind of, like I say, a smart ass and kind of raw. But it's got 14 tracks on here. It's got a song called Dance, which is like an electronic horror film soundtrack, kind of pop. Cannibalism, which we love cannibal songs. We can't get enough of those. It's sort of unhinged and propulsive. Old Technology, it sounds like a rap rock dissonance, and she goes, "I'm doing drugs tonight." She just says that over and over. Yes, God, which is ominous and kind of glitchy. I mentioned glitchy before. And then her best song is "I'm Actually Kind of Famous," and it's just hilarious. So she's got a great personality, kind of like that no-nonsense, femme fatale, old rocker chick, you know, meets electronic stuff, and then kind of boiled into the end of the millennials. So it's a good crossroads. Like I say, she's been working at this for about a decade. She started like in her bedroom closet when she was in college. That's when she started recording, and now she's been growing with every new release. And this might be a breakout.
Cool, good deal. Well, on movies, we went to see Project Hail Mary, and I liked it. Sarah loved it.
Yeah.
But it made me think of the first movie I saw, Ryan Gosling, where I thought, man, this guy's really a good actor. So I want to recommend Half Nelson, which is this. It's a movie about. I'm going to tell you the plot.
Okay.
And the plot's going to sound like something terrible. It is a middle school teacher. Ryan Gosling is a middle school teacher and a coach, and he's addicted to crack. And one of his
middle school teachers are.
Yes, a middle school teacher, and one of his 8th grade students, who is played by Sharika Epps.
Okay.
And she's like 13, and I think she was 13 when they made it. She's a little kid, but she discovers him like smoking crack after hours in the girls' locker room when he thinks, you know, everybody's already gone and she's still there. But it turns out her brother is in jail for taking the rap for Ryan Gosling's crack dealer. And the crack dealer is sort of protecting the little girl, but Ryan Gosling, as the teacher, is trying to help her as well. So it's this real convoluted dynamic, but it's great. It's got just lots of heart. It's really gritty. And Ryan Gosling, I think, just absolutely, the first time, when I first saw it, I've seen it like 3 times now, I just thought, man, he nailed it.
When's it from?
It's from, I had the year down. It's like 2006. But, you know, he gets it. You believe he's exactly who he's playing on there. He seems like a crack addict, but he also seems like a conscientious teacher who's trying his best to educate these kids. And then this little girl just knocks it out of the park.
Yeah.
She is. I'm surprised I didn't see her in all sorts of movies after this.
I just looked up because her last name Epps. I wanted to see if she was related to any famous Epps, and it said that she said in interviews during this movie that both of her parents were recovering addicts.
Oh, okay.
So that may have given her some, extra leg up.
But she does not seem like an actress. She seems like a real person in this movie, and Ryan Gosling really did too. I mean, it's very underplayed, but everybody I've ever shown it to has really liked it, and I just think it's terrific. And Ryan Gosling is one of those guys. He's such a pretty boy.
Yeah.
That you don't expect he's going to have acting chops.
Yeah, I think it goes the same with male actors as it does with women. If they're too attractive, and the way we are with musicians, if they're too attractive, you're like, they're probably not talented.
They're trading on their looks.
Right, right.
But
he is a great actor.
Yeah, and he is terrific in this, and I absolutely recommend it. I think anybody would like it, and you'll be surprised when you watch it.
Where do you see it?
I am sure you can rent
Just rent it.
I don't know that it's on any streaming service right now, but yeah, it's rentable for sure.
And she's not related to Omar Epps or comedian Mike Epps.
Oh, okay.
That's what I was looking up.
Well, she's a good actress, and I wish I'd seen her in more stuff.
Well, I want to recommend 2 little short movielets that I found on YouTube, and I think they must be done by the same director. They're really professionally done. This first one is called The Hard Way, Running, Aging, and the Power of Perseverance. And it's 20 minutes long. And it's about this guy. He's 89 years old, the age of our moms.
Yeah.
And he's been a runner all his life. And he runs ultra marathons in the mountains. So he's running 50K trail runs at 89 years old.
Wow.
And it's the thing that keeps him alive.
Yeah.
And on that same... it was really inspiring. Just 20 minutes, called The Hard Way. Yeah. And then the other one, it's got to be by the same guy, and it's called The Life We Have. And it's about this guy. He's a runner, and at the time of filming the movie, he's got stage 4 lung cancer. So one whole lung is just not working, and he still goes out and runs every day. And it's like he keeps track of how many days in a row he runs.
Wow.
And
who would do something like that?
I don't know.
And the guy, he goes through like 3 different rounds of chemo, loses all his hair, keeps running, then finishes the chemo. He's got a huge big beard and hair and runs some more. And his mom runs with him. His brother runs with him, and they keep him going. And it's running that just keeps him alive. And he, by the end of the movie, his cancer has progressed to where he can't run anymore. But as at the end of the movie, he was still alive.
Wow.
And it's 24 minutes long. And I sent both of these to a friend of mine who's a mountain biker friend of mine. He's like, why are you looking at all this depressing stuff? And I guess I'm feeling my age a little bit, and I'm also my mom's caretaker, and so I'm thinking all these things about what it is that keeps you motivated to keep moving. And I just know, and Chuck, I know you appreciate this too, but that's just exercise for me, and it's mainly in the form of mountain biking for me. It's just like saves my life on a routine basis. If I can get exercise regularly, the crap in life just rolls right off my back.
Well, if I hear you guys are like putting your moms up to these 50K runs or something, that's awesome.
My mom can hardly walk to the bathroom.
Well, I don't know the exact number of days, but I think I'm at day 1160.
That's
Out
amazing.
in a row. So it is kind of.
Well, and it just becomes part of you.
Yeah.
And I miss days every now and then, but.
Yeah. 4 years ago, I thought, what kind of insane person would do something like that? And here I am.
I'm probably at 200,000 days not working out. I'm right with you.
Where would one see these, John?
They're on YouTube.
YouTube, okay. Cool. Oh, that makes sense.
And they're just not a big time commitment.
Yeah.
First one's 20 minutes, second one's 24 minutes. And they got to be done by the same guy because the production values are similar. Really good production value, though. Yeah. It's not just amateur, some dude filming it with his phone.
Okay, I'm going to recommend Is This Thing On? It was released in late 2025, and now it's on, I think, Hulu and Disney Plus, and available for rent on a lot of the other streaming services. It's a drama comedy directed by Bradley Cooper, the actor Bradley Cooper. It stars Will Arnett and Laura Dern as Alex and Tess, and they're a middle-aged couple. They got a couple of kids, and they've decided to go their separate ways and divorce. They're separating, and you feel the tension between them early on, but it's kind of like a resigned tension, and they just don't enjoy each other's company, and they try not to be too bitter, and then they're trying to do the right thing for their kids and all that. And then they literally get separated. It's set in New York City, and she's eating a pot cookie or something like that. And he gets off the subway for some reason. It closes and goes on. So he's suddenly left alone. They weren't fighting. They were just kind of like passive aggressive, jabbing each other. And so he decides he needs a drink, and he goes into this bar. And he says, $15 cover charge. And he said, I have to spend $15 to buy a drink? He goes, well, unless you sign up here. It's an open mic comedy. And he'd never done comedy or anything like that. So he signed up just so he could get a drink without having to pay for it. And then when he goes to walk up there, he just starts talking. And it's kind of raw, but and not really funny. And people are not sure how to take him. But he's just talking about his crumbling marriage, and his wife, and every now and then he'll throw a jab in there. And it's not a long time with any of the. From this, he decides he kind of gets addicted to going to this comedy club and doing stand up, and and the drinks and all that stuff, and the free pizza or whatever. But all of his comedy routines are just what's happening at that point in his marriage, and like where he and his wife are. Yeah. And he meets another woman at one point. He talks about her. He talks about moving out and all this stuff. And Laura Dern, she's like a volleyball coach, and she knows Peyton Manning, although he's playing a different character. But a man played by Peyton Manning takes her on a platonic date, and they decide to go to this comedy club that she doesn't know he's performing at. And so he doesn't know she's out in the audience. Right. And I think this is when he's talking about meeting a new woman and having sex with this new woman. So but she's not. She doesn't react exactly like you would expect her to. She wants to hear everything he's got to say, and she's not jealous anymore because of what they've been through. Mm-hmm. But Bradley Cooper also stars in it. He's like a Will Arnett's friend, and then his girlfriend, who plays that? Andra Day is Laura Dern's friend. Mm-hmm. So they're another couple, and they've got their problems and everything. And it's a lot of, there's conversations, the comedy. There aren't long comedy bits by him or any of them. And some famous comedians are up there for just a moment here and there. But it's just an interesting storytelling about a couple whose relationship is in disarray, and they think they've got it figured out, and they're just going to separate and divorce and all that. And there are conversations that they have, and Bradley Cooper's character is kind of over the top and weird, and because that couple is also having their problems. But it was just a fun watch, and it was engaging. It's humorous, and it's a good conversation, good slice of life, and and some sweetness and sadness in it too.
Oh, cool! Sounds pretty good.
So again, is this thing on? Like the mic when people go up there, and nobody laughs at them, and the comedian they're like tapping the mic saying, "Is this thing on?" So that's where they get the title.
Yeah, my wife has wanted to watch that. She's a big Will Arnett fan.
I like him too. I think he's great. And this is a more serious role. I don't know if he's really done any kind of serious roles before, but and everybody in it has some vulnerabilities, and they kind of expose them. Like I think both Laura Dern and Will Arnett's characters have kind of panic attacks and stuff like that.
Are you aware of the Smartless podcast?
Yes, I love it. Yep,
that's Will Arnett's on that,
and Jason Bateman and Sean Hayes.
Yeah, Sean Hayes. Yeah, and they are hilarious.
Together. Yeah, they know what they're doing.
There's a documentary about them taking that out on tour. And it's really good to hear them talk to each other. They give each other shit constantly. But that's their love language. Yeah. It's like, if I'm not making fun of you, then I don't really like you.
Yeah, they're real bonded. It's one of my favorite. I think it's one of the most listened to podcasts, too, so it's a good one. It's real popular. Smartless. Okay, we're going to wrap it up here. That if you want to find us on social media, you can find us everywhere from YouTube to Facebook to Reels to X to Twitter to TikTok and Instagram. And TikTok, I don't know why, but I was about to write it off, and now it's becoming popular. And so who knows what's going on in this world. But you can find us on any of those. And if you have anything to ask us or any feedback to give us or any ideas to suggest about future topics, you can write us at howweheardit@gmail.com. So drop us a line if you got something to say. And thanks for joining us, and we'll be back. Thank you.
You've been listening to How We Heard It with Chuck Campbell and Wayne Bledsoe, a podcast about music, movies, art, culture, whatever it is that's on their mind. How We Heard It was recorded at the Arbor Studio in Knoxville, Tennessee by me, John Baker. How We Heard It is a Cozy Planet production. If listening to this podcast has given you a burning sensation, then we recommend you sit in a hot tub until your symptoms fade away. If you'd like to reach out to Chuck or Wayne or even me, you can send an email to howweheardit@gmail.com. So thank you for listening, and come on back and we'll have another episode for you next week.